Living vicariously through others is ruining your life, and you're not even realizing it. So, what I mean by that is in today's world, most of what we experience, we're consuming through a screen. We're not experiencing firsthand. Think about it. What do most people do with their free time? They're watching sports, they're doom scrolling or scrolling reels, they're binge watching shows, they're watching adult content. Everything I just listed is something that you're watching through someone else's eyes. You're watching other people get the things you want. You're watching other people succeed, especially with reels. You're watching other people take those vacations that you want to take. You're watching other people drive supercars. You're watching other people. Especially, it's funny with these dating pickup guys. You're watching, like, we have people out here watching other dudes talk to girls all day. So I feel like that's a really big detriment to society right now because what we're lacking is people actually going out into the world and experiencing things on their own, growing and learning on their own terms. When you're behind a screen, everything is safe, everything is instant, everything is perfect. You can't go wrong. But that's where a lot of the downside lies, is in the fact that you're unable to grow, you're unable to learn. Everything is synthesized through this, screen in front of us, and a lot of us aren't out there in the world learning these firsthand experiences, making mistakes, growing, things like that. You know, it's funny, the term doom scrolling has become super popular lately. And, a lot of people unironically enjoy or say they enjoy bed rotting, doom scrolling. And what that's doing is just hijacking your attention. It's making the real, what it does, the most sinister part about it is it's making the real world less interesting. It's taking the joy out of going for a walk, going to get coffee, going for a drive, going out and talking to people in real life. And I know a lot of people have touched on this, but I think it's just so important that you don't filter your entire life through a screen. Um, One of the biggest things I see with people is their obsession with sports. And I have no problem with sports. I think sports are great, especially when you're growing up. It's a great way to learn leadership, learn to be part of a team. A lot of those lessons that you learn playing sports, you can even apply to sales. Being on a sales team is very similar to being on a sports team. But where I feel like it crosses over into a detriment is when people live or die by these football teams or whatever sport it is. If your emotional state is dependent on the success of another man, that's something that you really need to reevaluate. And with how prominent sports betting has become, that's another huge thing going on too. So instead of actually going out and improving your own life, you're going to sit there and watch other men who are millionaires who don't know you exist. You're going to watch them succeed and you're going to get emotional if they succeed, or you're going to get emotional, you're going to get mad and grouchy for the rest of the day if they lose. I mean, it's pretty silly when you think about it. But people just have this intense need to distract themselves from, a lot of it is their problems, a lot of it is they don't want to be alone with themselves. But spending that time, I'm not saying not to watch sports. Like, feel free, if you need some downtime, watch sports. But if sports are what you live and die by, you're not investing enough in yourself, because your life is never going to improve until you go out and you improve it yourself. It's never going to improve until you put the work in and you invest in yourself, instead of investing in, the Buffalo Bills, or you investing in the Los Angeles Chargers, whatever it may be. It's much more important to actually go out and improve your own life. And especially with the betting, most people are going to lose. Most people are going to lose money. I think gambling in general is an epidemic right now, but that's another topic. So I think sports are a huge one. I think pornography is probably the most sinister out of all of them. Kids, right, there are kids in this country who think it's normal to grow up watching that stuff on a regular basis. And there's even adults who think it's normal, who, there's people who are promoting this stuff. I think it's the most evil thing in the world. I think it ruins any chance you have at real relationships, real intimacy. I think it hijacks your brain and gives you a complete unrealistic expectation of what real life and what real relationships are all about. And I think it's just the most malicious thing, and it is by design. It's not an accident that this stuff is so pervasive. um it's just like a drug, but what you're doing is you're watching someone else, engage in that activity. You're basically cucking yourself. And that's one of the worst things you can do. And all of it feeds into each other. If you're just staying home all day, you're scrolling, you're watching sports, you're watching that stuff, even video games, which I love video games, in the right doses. Um, but a lot of what video games do is give you this virtual life that's not your own. A lot of people have said this, but you're spending hours improving your GTA character, getting money for your GTA character, but you're broke. And the thing about real life is it's more of a grind than a video game. It's not as exciting as a video game. There's no dragons to slay, or there's no heists to pull off. But if you actually invest in real life and you actually dive deep into your own story and you make yourself the main character of your own story and you become, the protagonist of your own video game, it's going to be a lot more rewarding. There's a whole world out there. Most people are going to stay in their hometown for their entire life, or stay in their immediate area, or move to some city that they hate because that's where their job is. If they invested some of that time that they spend escaping from the real world and watching other people achieve the things that they want to achieve, then the possibilities would be endless. I think the biggest realization I've had is that I can achieve anything. I can do anything. And that's not to sound arrogant, but that applies for anyone. Just the privilege to wake up every morning and be, you know, be able-bodied, be sound of mind. I mean, it's the biggest blessing that anyone could ask for. And what would I be saying if I refused to go explore the map or the world that we were given, that we're all given, and we're all given this one go around in life? And I'll be damned if I spend my one chance on this earth watching things through other people's eyes. And I think Instagram is a huge proponent of this, where we have this intense desire to compare. We watch these videos where, you have a 17-year-old who says, if you don't make $10 million a month and you don't drive a Lamborghini, then you're an idiot, and it's so easy. I'll give you a little word of advice. It's not easy to make money. If somebody tells you it's easy to make money or there's an easy money-making method, then it's a scam. Because building something real that's foundational, that lasts, it's a slow and difficult process. And I wouldn't have it any other way, because if it was easy, everyone would have it and no one would appreciate it. So it's very easy to just scroll Instagram and just get those dopamine hits. As you get the same dopamine hit as if that was you. You see that cool video of a guy driving a Lamborghini in Miami, and your brain is picturing that as you. Your brain is giving you those same dopamine hits. It's firing those same receptors as if it was you behind the wheel. But you're sitting in your bed covered in Cheeto dust. So if I had any word of advice, it would be lean into the real world. Lean into life. Go to a coffee shop and talk to somebody. You don't have to be creepy. You can just strike up a conversation with a stranger, just, something casual. Go for a walk in the park. Start that business or creative project that you've been thinking about. And you don't have to, do side hustles. Just do something that's meaningful for you. Do something, there's something in alignment if it's something that you can't get out of your head. So everyone has something that they think about. You'll think about it when you're at work. Oh, I wish I was doing this. I wish I was doing that. But a lot of times when we get home from work, we're so drained, we just end up laying there doom scrolling. So start that thing that you've been putting off. Take your dog to the park. Go for a drive in the car. Go check out a new park. Go do a new hike. Go to the city. Go to a concert and keep your phone in your pocket the entire time. Go see a play. Even seeing a movie is better than, some of this stuff, but if you can have firsthand experience, it's always going to beat looking at something through a screen. And I think that's something that a lot of people have forgotten. It sounds, a lot of these lessons, they sound so simple and they sound so obvious, but I think the biggest bottleneck for people is putting things into practice. It's about actually executing on these ideas, and it's about doing that thing. So next time you're laying in bed and you're scrolling, you're watching, Instagram reels, you've got the game on in the background, just go outside. Go do something productive. Go to the gym. Go improve your character. And I promise at the end of it, you'll thank yourself for it.